Hi there, Perf the Castro here and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. This video is a lesson on all the guitar parts that I wrote, played, and recorded for the classic Francis M hit, Kaleidoscope World. If you're new to this channel, I invite you to hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I regularly upload content centered on the guitar and music, from gear demos to lessons to tour vlogs, video performances, and all sorts of other fun stuff. And as with my other lesson videos, you will see the tab displayed on the lower part of the screen with my guitar on the upper part of the screen so that you can follow along easily. And if you want your own copy of the tab in PDF format, plus an MP3 backing track for you to practice with, these are available from my website, perfectodecastro.com, for only $2.99. And while you're there, be sure to check out my other available tabs and backing tracks as well. Kaleidoscope World is such a well-loved song from an equally well-loved artist, so it's not a far stretch to say that every Filipino around the world knows this song. So during the course of this video, I will also give you some insight behind the song's creation as well as the recording process. Okay, here we go. Let's start with the intro. Okay, for the intro, the very first thing that you're going to play is the 12th fret E on the 6th string. And that'll happen on the 4th beat of the count in. Then you're going to slide that down to the open E string, which happens on the 1st beat of the next measure. And that is followed by a series of double stops and slurs, all based in E minor pentatonic. Now here is the intro real slow. 1, 2, 3. Now take note that the measure with the double stops is in 5/4. But this is the only time that there is an odd time signature throughout the whole song. That's because the intro is intended to be in free time. All the basic tracks for the Freeman album were recorded live. The studio at the time, Green Hill Sound, had a big enough live room, and the whole band was able to fit in that room, and we were able to play and record together. And each of our instruments were fed into their own track in the multi-track control room. Now, this was done by design because we wanted to capture the feel of a live band playing together. And on some songs, Carla and I were switching from rhythm to lead, thus preserving the whole live feel of the take. However, even though we were playing together in the same room, our guitar amps were tucked away in isolation booths. That way, we minimized the amount of guitar bleeding into the drum mics. For the recording, I used a Marshall JCM 900 half stack, cranked real loud, and sometimes pushed with a Marshall Shredmaster. And that is mic'd with an SM57, and that went straight to 2-inch tape. The guitar I used was a Japanese Les Paul copy with the Westminster brand, and it was modified with EMG pickups with coil splits. That guitar belonged to Carlos Season at the time, who let me use it for the sessions. That way we have different options as far as guitar tones go. Since my Les Paul does not have coil splits for the humbuckers, the closest I could get to the guitar I used on the recording is my Sully Guitars Stardust from the Conspiracy series. I am on the neck pickup with the coil split pulled out. I'm then plugged into my 11 rack, and I'm using a Plexi style amp model set to a slightly overdriven tone. And for the verses, I roll down the guitar volume to clean it up some more. Okay, so let's get into the main rhythm guitar part. The chord progression for the verse is in 2 parts. The first half goes G, A minor 7, B minor 7, back to A minor 7. Second half goes G, A minor 7, B minor 7, all the way up to C. I feel this is worth mentioning because I've seen a lot of Kaleidoscope World covers that only use the second half of the progression, the one that goes up to C. Now, the next thing worth mentioning is that I don't play these chords the standard way as bar chords. What I do is I hook my thumb up, and that plays the notes on the 6th string. And that leaves my fingers to add embellishments to the rest of the chord. This is a guitar technique commonly used in a lot of soul and R&B songs, particularly in the playing styles of Curtis Mayfield, Jimi Hendrix, and Richie Kotzen. In fact, this part is directly inspired by Jimi Hendrix because I heard him play something similar in his version of Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone. And this chord progression is one of my favorites as well. So I figured it would be cool to fuse both things together. Now, in the early stages of writing the music, I was actually playing the verse following the G, A minor 7, B minor 7, C chord progression. But then it reminded me so much of that Beatles song, Here, There, and Everywhere, which is why in the first half, instead of going up to C right away, I added the walk down to A minor 7. And that little chord tweak took the song in a different direction. Now, another intent for this rhythm guitar part is that it is improvisational by nature. So every time I play it, I add different embellishments depending on how I feel at that particular moment. So once you get the basic handle of the progression, feel free to play around with it as well. In the tab, I wrote down some of the key moves I played on the recording so that you'll get a good idea on how to approach playing around with it. Now let's go through the tab to get the rhythm figures for the verse. Okay, for the G chord, thumb plays the 3rd fret G on the 6th string. Ring finger plays the 5th fret G on the 4th string. Second finger plays the 4th fret B on the 3rd string. And index finger plays the 3rd fret D on the 2nd string. We also have a quick hammer and pull on the 3rd string from the 4th to the 5th fret, and that will be taken care of by our pinky. The A minor 7 is actually really easy because we'll just maintain our thumb on the 6th string, but this time on the 5th fret. And we are going to bar with our index finger across the 5th fret on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. And we have a series of hammer-ons as well, basically outlining part of the A minor pentatonic scale. From there, we are going to slide the thumb up, again, 2 frets, up to the 7th fret, B minor 7. The grip is the same as our A minor 7. For B minor 7, we have a bunch of muted strums, as well as an accent on the upstroke. And we're going to slide back down to A minor 7. So together, that is... Second half of the chord progression starts off the same, G, A minor 7. For B minor 7, we're going to play 2 accents instead of 1. And then for C, instead of playing a plain old C chord, we are going to combine natural harmonics with some fretted notes. Fret a power chord based on C, so 8th fret 6th string, 10th fret G on the 5th string with our ring finger. And from here, we're going to stretch our pinky and lay it across the 12th fret open harmonics. And the harmonics will ring out as we slide down to the start of the chord progression again for the next section. When the vocals come in the verse section, we're going to switch to a simpler rhythm guitar part. That way the guitar does not interfere and overpower the vocals. So for these little chord stabs, I play around with putting them either on the 2nd and 4th beats or on the upstrokes. On the second half of the progression, I usually add the slurs back in just to keep things interesting. Other embellishments that I like doing are quick double stop slide back and forth. And in live situations, sometimes I also do that on the B minor 7. So play around with it. Now the C chord with the natural harmonics also make an appearance sometimes in the middle of the verse. And you can play around with the order of the harmonics as well. So you can play it ascending, or you can play it descending. Now we get to the chorus chord progression. For the chorus, we need a lift, so we are going to switch to our bridge pickup and turn the volume knob all the way up. And we'll play nice big open chords. You can play around with the strumming as well. For the third repeat, we are going to skip the B minor 7 and then go straight to C. Now the end of the first chorus goes back straight to the verse rhythm figure. So make sure that you practice rolling down your volume quickly for that transition. The end of the second chorus leads straight into a short bridge section. Bridge, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Now for the third measure, we have a quick polychord action because the bass and the other guitar goes to F. But for my part, I went to C. So you get this interesting C over F chord. You can also call it an F major 7 suspended 9th chord, but it is easier to think of it as C over F. Now, you don't have to play this wide grip right here. Let the second guitar and the bass play the F, and you just play a regular C bar chord. Okay, so this is actually the end of my recorded guitar parts for Kaleidoscope World. Shortly after I laid down some basic tracks with Hardware Syndrome, BMG Records launched the River Maya debut album. And since things took off fairly quickly for that, I was not able to come back and finish recording. So they called on Noel Mendez to finish the rest of the guitar parts for the Freeman album. And on the Freeman record, Kaleidoscope World is the only song where all 3 Hardware Syndrome guitarists played on. So I played the Hendrix-style rhythm guitar that I just showed you. Carlos Season played the heavier rhythm guitar as well as one of the harmony lead lines. And Noel Mendez played the octave lines in the intro, interlude, and outro, as well as the main guitar solo. Earlier in this video, I mentioned how I tweaked the verse progression to move it away from the Beatles influence, only to have Noel play those octave lines and bring the Beatles influence right back in. It's just a little ironic. If you want to learn the guitar solo just like on the recording, there is actually a YouTube video of Noel himself teaching the solo. So just do a search for Noel Mendez Kaleidoscope World Guitar Solo and you will find it. Nowadays, whenever I perform this song live, I try to present it along the lines of my original vision for it. The solos I play are mostly improvised, and I try to make it sing as much as I can in the blues rock vein. And that includes the harmony lines towards the end of the solo section. So what I'm going to do next is show you both voices of these harmony lines. These will be different from what is on the recording, but this is how I originally intended them to turn out. To play the harmony lines, I have switched my guitar to the full humbucking bridge pickup, and I have called up my regular lead patch, which is based on a Soldano SLO 100. The lead voice in that harmony line is in 2 sections. It starts off in the lower register, and then we move to the higher register. Let's go to the tab. Okay, for the first half, we start on the 7th fret D on the 3rd string, and from there, the notes on the 2nd string follow the chord changes. First is G, 2nd, and from there we bend into the B note. And then from here we play my favorite lick that I have stolen from Steve Lukather. You will find this in over 60% of my recorded guitar solos because I love it so much. Then we move to the higher register, starting on the 13th fret C on the second string. Pull off to 12th fret B, and then go back to the 13th fret C. Then we're gonna grab the high G on the 15th fret first string, followed by the G an octave below on the 12th fret third string. Lots of vibrato. Then we're gonna bend the 15th fret D a whole step, release, pull off to the 13th fret C, and then we're gonna go back to the 15th fret D, and we will do a quick slur and slide lick. Second, third. This whole section gets repeated 3 times. Then on the 4th repeat, we're pretty much playing the same thing, but instead of doing the slur and slide lick at the end, we will just bend the 15th fret D and let it fade away. Now let's take a look at the second harmony voice. In the first part of this section, this voice plays the upper harmony in diatonic thirds. Now I don't bar this with just one finger. That way I can articulate the voices and I can give judicious amounts of vibrato on the sustained notes. So in the second half, voice 1 and voice 2 switch registers. So when voice 1 moves up to this register, voice 2 goes down and plays this. That is played 3 times. On the 4th repeat, like the first voice, we are not going to play that slur and slide lick, and we'll just let that half step bend fade out. And of course, end on G. Okay, there you have it. I really enjoyed showing you all the guitar parts as well as talking about everything that went behind into the creation of this wonderful song. And again, I want to remind you that the PDF tab as well as the MP3 backing track for this video lesson is available from my website, perfectodecastro.com/store. And if you want to show further support for me and my work on this channel, please consider buying your own Practice Makes Perfecto t-shirt. All clickable links are in the description box below. Now, if you dug this video, please give it a thumbs up like. Feel free to share it with your friends and do subscribe if you haven't yet. And of course, don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments section. I look forward to reading them. I'm going to finish up this video playing rhythm guitar to the backing track so that you can practice all the stuff that you learned in this video or just play your own stuff. Jam along virtually with me. Let's go. Cheers, guys. Practice makes perfecto.